we've got the center, but as I said, if you want to make it out of gum paste, you'll make it 2 weeks in advance. Just leave it to dry to make sure that it doesn't get you into trouble. Start creating the flower, as you will have to dry it like hanging down, and obviously if it's too heavy, the wire will come off. And then you roll your gum paste, and what I intend to do is just to roll and work more petals at one time, and then just stick them one by one. I do found that doing them separately and just do one layer, then wait a little bit, it just breaks a lot of the petals. But if you attach them while they are still not quite dry, it just works better. So you start creating the flower, the petals, then you ensemble the petals while they are kind of still fresh, and then they get to dry all in one go. Okay, so that's the reason why I've rolled a little bit more paste. It does look like a lot of paste, but it's not that much, because considering how many layers you have to put to finish the flower. So because we've got this styrofoam bowl, and generally whatever medium you will choose to use to make a bowl, you will have a bowl to cover. You can start by covering the top. You don't have to go for like a daisy cutter. Yeah, you can just go for a rum cutter. Any kind of piece of paste which is going to cover the top, it will be fine. But because I've got this handy, I'm going to cut with it. I don't have any kind of a round. Let's see if I can get a different cutter, just to show you that it really doesn't matter what cutter you use. Don't have in here, but I've got the carnation cutter in here. I'm going to use a carnation cutter just to put the first layer. Okay, and then all the others will be cut with the daisy cutters. And in your student kit, you've got 3 different sizes, but to be honest, those would be quite small. So the first one which you will use, for considering the size of your center, it will be this one. Even this one might be a little bit too small, and we might have to stretch a little bit the petals, but then you will have to go for larger cutters. Now PME, they do have large cutters, but their largest cutter is a little bit smaller than this. Okay, so we'll try and concentrate on those 2 cutters the most. If the center is smaller, then those size cutters will be fine. So if you want to make a large flower, you will have to invest and get yourself a bigger cutter. If you're happy with the way how the flower looks, and you're happy to have it smaller, then this is going to be fine. Okay, so for me, it doesn't make sense to use those little cutters. I'm going to start with this one, trying to place it so that I can get a layer. Because there are so many petals, you have to press in the center as well. Even if you get the plunge cutter, you don't press the plunge, but you press the base of the cutter and on the edge of the cutter, because you really want to get a clean cut on the petals. You can turn the cutter upside down and make sure you've got a clean cut. Okay, and I'm just going to cut another one. If, for example, you get to the stage of having just one piece, which is kind of decent size, you don't want to just chunk it in a bag and start re-rolling. You can also use just part of the paste, especially if you've got at least half of the flower to cut. That's going to be fine. And I think I can do this bit as well. Okay, and then I can join the petals. Okay, that's going to work as good as a full petal. Oops. Okay, putting this in here, and then just cutting more. And this is going to be super boring, because you'll have to work on each petal. So loads of petals to work on. But in the end, the flower looks actually quite nice. So I think it worth the hassle. I'm going to start working on those because the paste will get too dry. The first layer, not too much to do in here. Don't know where I put my. It's going to get my glue. Just put some glue on the top of the styrofoam bowl, and then just secure my paste. What I want to do, because it's right in the center, is just to put some lines, just to mimic that is the center of a flower. It's going to be covered by the petals, but it might be a little bit visible, so just give it that sort of texture. If, for example, you want to put some dust, then you can also put some green dust over. Yeah, we usually do the dusting after, but also when you do yours, if you make loads, you can also just do the dusting when you finish covering all the centers. And I'm going to start working on those petals. So there is a front and a back of the petal. So on the back of the petal, with the cupped end of my Dresden tool, I'm going to go from the tip of the petal towards the center, and I will just take each petal and shape. Yep, so I want the tip of the petal to be quite curved. Okay, you might have to apply a little bit more pressure. Don't worry if you ruin one or two petals, that's absolutely fine.
And it's normal.
It's normal, but it will give you an idea. Yeah, it will give you an idea about how much pressure you should add. Yeah, because you might think, oh, if I press too much, it might break. It doesn't matter. If you don't press enough, you don't get that cupped shape, and I think that's the one which gives that natural look. So I'm just going to add a bit more glue in here, not very much, but just enough to kind of secure the first petal. And I'm just going to pop the wire through the paste and then just flip it upside down. So see, if you use a smaller cutter, then the petals will not be able to, they will be too short. Okay, and that's how I will start building. But I'm going to put this first layer, then I will leave the flower to hang on the side to dry, and then I will carry on making the other petals, and I will leave them on flat on the surface before attaching them. I will just work with maybe 5-6 petals on one time. So, okay. Turning the pad is it's got a few indents, and just okay. So I said it's a bit of a boring flower, but it just looks quite impressive when it's finished, and it can be used as a statement flower. It's called, when you only have a flower and some foliage on the cake. So it's suitable for that kind of statement flower because it's a large flower. Usually flowers like peonies, ranunculus, large roses, chrysanthemums are used as statement flowers. Okay. But again, just going one by one. If, for example, you decide to make varieties of chrysanthemums, so there are hundreds of varieties, you can buy yourself a book about chrysanthemums and get inspired and look at the photos. Especially if you are thinking about going to competitions, some of the classes will actually ask for the details in regards with that particular flower, and they will ask you to supply photos. So if you want to botanically reproduce a flower, you have to have all the details. And usually those classes will ask for a bud, a small flower, and an open flower. So you get all 3 stages and plus foliage. So you have to make sure that you do actually the properly foliage. Where when you do it for cake decorating, you don't really care. I mean, you put something green, but it doesn't have to be the foliage of that particular flower. Okay, just going to go into here. And just do one more. If you want to make it unwired, you can use unwire and somehow edible. You can use the center, just like a chocolate bonbon, and then just use that as a center. If you've got a round bonbon, that will be fine. If you want to just use gum paste, just use gum paste, stuck it and just put it on the cake. That's it. So as I said, I will do 5, 6 at a time, but I'm going to stop with 3 so that you can start doing yours. And the way how we'll put this together will just literally be by adding a little bit of glue, setting the next petal, and I will put about 5, 6 petals all the same size before increasing the size of the cutter. Obviously, if you've got 3, 4 sizes, you can do 3, 4 one size, 3, 4 one size, and just increase as you go along. But if you only have, like we do, 2 sizes, we'll do 5, 6 of a size and then 5, 6 of the other. Or you can say, oh, I can't be bothered, I only want to make 5, then you make 5, and then that's pretty much how many I've got here. 3, 4, yeah, I've got 5, yeah. And then this is how it's going to look like when it gets dry. So it's still a decent size, so don't even have to put...
So I'll just make as much as I can with the paste.
Yeah, absolutely. If you, for example, you still want to put some layers, but you don't have enough paste with the same color, then keep a little bit and just put some more white, because as the flower gets mature, the petals get discolored, so it's fine to get lighter petals towards it. And I'm just going to make more white on the side. But that's how you start creating the chrysanthemum, and then we'll just leave it to hang on the side till tomorrow, and you will get